How long did it take you to recover from the experience at Manchester United?
Maybe longer than what I hoped, but I think maybe when you look at the situation at Manchester United, you'd maybe understand. You know, it's a big club to lose your job at. It really is, because it's documented all over the world. And I still felt that at the time that only to be given 10 months in the job wasn't long enough. And I think now people looking back at Manchester United would understand that there was a lot of difficulties. In my time at Manchester United could not be a revolution when I went in. It had to be evolution, and it had to take time to change. It couldn't be changed overnight. And actually, with transfer windows and just the general football club philosophies, you couldn't make the changes quickly, and it was going to take time.
How unlucky did you get in that first window that you ended up only with Fellaini, who I don't think was your intended target, was he, initially?
No. Marouane Fellaini was to be part of a group of players who would come in, and by the time we got to the end of the transfer window, we always thought that we had a chance of getting Gareth Bale.
How much of a chance?
We hoped that we could talk him out of going to Real Madrid, because already it was already sort of half done. We had offered more money. We had tried to entice him to come to Manchester United.
I heard you had a helicopter ready to go and get him.
We did.
Did you?
We did. We had it, and we
close?
Tried. Also, I've got to say, Fabregas was very close, and I'd spoke to him and hoped to bring him from Barcelona. But this is management, and actually, we all have lots of hard luck stories, so I don't want to go back and say these are hard luck stories.
I understand, but it is worth just pointing out, that's all.
Yeah, it was, and actually, I say that, you know, I had, during the season, I had met Toni Kroos and agreed that Toni Kroos would come to Manchester United before he went to Real Madrid, but somewhere in there I lost my job, and it meant that Toni chose to go elsewhere.
Do you regret the way not the way it worked out, but the manner in which it worked out? Do you now regret taking it?
No, I'd never regret taking Manchester United. If the job came up again today, I'd take it in a minute. It's, for me, I've not been at Real Madrid as a manager, but I've seen Manchester United. For me, it's the best club in the world as far as support, everything around it, what they've got. I think that there's a big demand on it. Whoever takes the job, you know, you have to win the games, and I fully understood that. I didn't go in thinking that wasn't the case. You have to win the games, and I didn't win enough games, and ultimately, if you don't win enough games, you lose your job.
Peter Schmeichel sat there, 3-4 weeks ago, Andy, and said the biggest mistake we made post-Ferguson was not giving David Moyes time enough.
Well, that's nice to hear, because I think that is the fact, and I genuinely believe. But I've heard some people say, whoever went in after Sir Alex Ferguson were going to have the same difficulties. Yeah. You know, there was going to be difficult, not because Sir Alex hadn't left things right, because Sir Alex left me the champions from the year before. So I went into a group of players, but they were having to work with a new manager. You know, it was going to be a change from what they'd had before. And, you know, even the managers, some very, very experienced managers have gone in after me.
What can you share with us that you found that you perhaps didn't expect, or made it more difficult than we realised?
I don't think I could turn around and say, but the most asked question is I get everywhere I go is, what would you do different, David? And I say to people, I wouldn't do anything different. I've got some small things I might have in hindsight, looked and tried to make sure I kept one of the staff, which Alex had, which I did try to do, and it didn't work out.
One of? Do you mean Mike?
Well, no, actually it was Rene. I had offered Rene the job, and Rene in the end decided not to stay.
Willenstein.
Yeah. And you know, in hindsight, then if I'd known Rene wasn't going to stay, I would have been better keeping Mike. So that's decisions, but that's what happens in football management. You make your decisions, you go with it, and you know, you see quite often managers who move to clubs now take their whole staff with them. You know, they bring all their staff with them. So it wouldn't be unusual for me to do that.
Andy, I was looking at you. Did I storm over the top of a question?
No. The question you asked was the one. We sat here with Jose Mourinho, and we said, any regrets? And he said, the one I wouldn't have taken the job, and B, I should have resigned earlier. That's what he said. And that's what I was going to ask you. Same thing. Do you have any regrets? And I'm pleased to hear you say that you didn't have any regrets.
What about the stories we hear that you know, as a player, Michael Carrick said to you, well, David Moyes came in and said, we're going to have to run a bit more. And then this week I read Michael Carrick saying, these boys have got to run a bit more. Does that happen when you make the transition from player to coach? You understand perhaps a little bit more?
Yeah, I think so. I think my idea was I wanted to have a really energetic, hard-working Manchester United, but I wanted it also to follow the Man United principles, which Andy mentioned earlier. You know, they play with forward players, they got forward quickly. You try to follow that. You know, there's no reason to have changed it or attempted to, and I didn't try to.
Weren't Manchester United under Fergie one of the most hard-working sides anyway?
Yeah.
So I don't know why people would think that would change when a new coach goes in.